board does not have the ability to exempt Maybrook and Montgomery villages from the taxation to finance our police department. And that's from the General Counsel of the State Controller of New York. And I believe that the town board is in error. I believe that you're liable for illegally placing the full burden of the police department on those people who live outside the villages. What does our town attorney feel on the issue? Since this attorney quotes, or not quotes, but mentions the opinion of the town attorney as agreeing with this attorney.
I'm not inclined to give you a legal opinion.
Yes, I didn't think you would be. But the board is in error by not taxing Montgomery, Village of, and Maybrook for police coverage. And if you really wanted to consolidate police forces, you would go tomorrow and tax them for full assessment and make them pay for the police coverage that they should be getting from the town. And if the villages want to continue to tax them for police coverage on a part-time basis, then the villages would take it up with their own village management, not the town.
Right.
Thank you.
Have to provide them coverage for the other 128 hours a week at no cost to the village. So think before you...
Now, where are you getting that information?
I'm telling you, because if you have 4 full-time officers, we cannot assess them. They can have 4 people from 8 to 4, Monday to Friday, and all the rest of the shifts, the town of Montgomery will service the village of Montgomery, and we will pay for their service.
Because when they have 4 full-time officers, you cannot assess them anything, okay? Ron's point is, all the village has to do is hire 4 full-time officers.
Yeah.
The law does not state anything about coverage. The state law says the town is responsible for policing the villages within its jurisdiction. If next week, any of those villages, Maybrook, Montgomery, or Walden, decided to disband their departments, put it to a vote and disband it, the town of Montgomery is legally responsible to provide them coverage. That's the way it is. The law states if you have 4 officers, 4 full-time officers, you cannot assess the village. The law never states how much coverage you have to provide. All they have to do is have 4 full-time officers. They can cover whatever shifts they want. The other shifts, the town has to take care of it.
How does that answer my question?
Because you can't charge them for those extra services because
Then they're not providing the service.
the law states if you have 4 full-time officers, you can't assess them. That's the way it's worded. 4 full-time officers, you cannot assess them.
You read it in the letter right here.
But you're not assessing them now. You're not assessing them now, and you're trying to assess them on a per-call basis. You're changing the definition of assessment.
Because we tried to be fair because they were already providing services.
But you don't have the authority to change the way that you tax people.
So, and they could.
You're exempting people from this taxation for the police code. You are. You're exempting them. And only the state legislature has that.
Why are we
authority.
exempting them?
Because you're not charging them. Where does...
So, the law states 4 full-time officers.
Yes.
The law does not state anything about the coverage they have to provide.
Right.
So all they have to do is hire 4 full-time officers.
And
they are not on call, if they're not on duty.
And a 911 call comes.
It doesn't matter. If they're not on duty, the town of Montgomery has to provide police protection.
Then why can't you assess that the same way you're trying to assess them now?
You can't assess them because they have 4 full-time officers.
No.
The only thing the law states is 4 full-time officers. It has
But
nothing
that's
to
not-
do with coverage or duty or anything else.
Can't change the definition of assessment.
You tried to work it out. If you listen to Ron's explanation of what could happen if you just assess them, you are going to pay anyway because you can't assess them for that coverage. Do you understand that once they
How
get-
can you assess them now for the coverage?
Because, Richard, we try to be fair because
You
the
can't
other
assess
part-
them now. According to your interpretation of the law, you can't even assess them now
Correct.
for part-time coverage.
According to
No,
this
because-
interpretation.
Right.
The one who
Without-
says.
So where are you getting the authority to do that?
Because
That's
they
my
don't
question.
have-
Won't the bill that you're anticipating sending them change and go beyond the home rule powers of a local municipality and provide an exemption from taxation?
We're not
Because they
providing-
don't have 4 full-time officers.
Well, how are you coming up with an exemption from taxation if you send them a bill and they tax their residents within their village budget?
Because the law says that the taxation has to be done on assessment. That's how.
And they could,
We try to make it fair, and it's gonna end up, you know what, it's gonna end up not fair. You know, it's gonna end up not fair one way or the other. And it'll happen, so let it happen.
So
You might be paying for us to patrol the village of Montgomery.
Well, we are. We have been for
No,
15,
we
20
haven't.
years.
just like. you
That's
patrol
why the
through-
law states that it's a town-wide assessment, because it's just natural that
Well, just be
you're
careful what
automatically
you wish for.
providing coverage for them.
Be
Thank you.
careful what you wish for. That's all I'm saying.